Todd, it's been a long time since people thought this organization had Stanley Cup aspirations. You went through this in San Jose every year for a long time, getting picked to be a winner or right up there with the winners, and it didn't quite turn out. What are the perils and the pitfalls of being that team that people are picking?
Well, first of all, if you're considered to be one of the teams that the experts have picked to have a chance, that means you've done a pretty good job with your organization, assembling the group, creating an identity, and working towards that goal. You have some pieces in place that can get the job done. But that all happens on paper, and there hasn't been a single point awarded yet in the league. The tough part about that is that you have to come and play every night. You got to remember how hard it was to win the year prior. You've got to believe that it's going to be tougher this year because people will be expecting it a little bit more from you. Not only the opposition, but fans, media, teammates, coaches are going to expect more from each other. And it becomes a tough thing at times. And what I'll be interested to see with our team, we're not going to sail through the year by any means. It could start early, it could be later on. We will have some rough water that we need to get through. And to me, what separates that team that really gets there and the ones that don't quite get there is how they handle that. And we haven't experienced it yet. So am I taking you down the growth path a little bit like I did last year? Perhaps, but at a different level.
Todd, Anton Slepyshev said that he was disappointed he hasn't been able to get a game in yet. Peter singled him out today. For you, what are your expectations of him this season, and how quickly would you like to get him into a game? Are you just going to take that on a game-by-game?
Well, we would have loved to have played him tomorrow, but I don't think that's fair to him or his teammates that have gone through training camp. I think he can be a very effective player for our club. He seems to have a level of confidence, the way he's carrying himself even in practice right now that he hasn't had in the past. And I'm sure he's scratching to get into the lineup. We'd like him to likely go to Bakersfield and play one game there, perhaps as early as this weekend, and then bring him back and find a spot for him in our lineup.
In terms of achieving, the success that's being projected, how important is it that the second line be first rate this year?
How
important is it that the second line be first rate?
I'm sorry, Jonesy. How important is the second line?
That they play really well. Be first rate kind of a line.
Oh, be first rate. I thought you said be first to the rink, and I'm going. That I would have needed some time. Well, the third line needs to be first rate too. Like it's not just the second line, and it needs to support our go-to guys. Obviously, Connor's in that category. If we keep Leon on that wing, well then, they're dynamic and they can make some things happen. But the support has to come from underneath, and they have to push. And if we're not getting what we need, we can put Leon back into the middle, and hopefully he can drive a line like he did in the playoffs. But you don't win with 1, 2, 3 players. You don't win with one line. You can't win with one pair. And quite frankly, you can't win with one goaltender. So that's why we have a team assembled, and we hope we can get it done.
Let me rephrase it slightly. How important is this year to Nuge?
To Nuge? I think it's a really important year for Ryan to come out and excel. He's done it in the past. Last year, I think he left a little bit on the table. We talked about that. But he looks good. He feels good. I have confidence in him. His teammates have a lot of confidence in him, so we want to get him off to a good start. You can't just pick up the paper and evaluate that player on goals and assists. It's not fair to him. You have to watch the game. You have to look at chances that he's involved for and against, some of the extra duties that are put on him. And if he's doing those things well and his point totals aren't up in the 80s or 70s or whatever everybody's looking for, we'll be fine with that. But I think there's a little more there, and we'll get a little more out of him.
Todd, what's your expectation of your team's ability to defend goals this year? In an ideal world, you probably want to play Cam a little bit less if you can. You're starting a little bit on missing a top 4 defenseman. Do you think you'll be able to defend as well as you did last year, and are you concerned about that?
Well, we have to defend as well as we did last year. In fact, we need to improve. We took our goals against, I think, from 285 a few years ago down to what it was last year, and I still believe for us to have success, we've got to find a way to saw another 15 goals off of that. It doesn't sound like very many, but 15 is a tough number to cut off your totals throughout a whole year, and that can come in the form of penalty kill. It can come in 5-on-5. It could be sharper on the power play, so you don't give up 6, 7, 8 shorthanded goals a year. You know, I think your question also is, can we defend as well with some players being out, not having Sekera, maybe Talbot not playing as much? We're going to have to. We're going to test the group, and we're going to see where we're at.
Todd, right here in front. Was there a game or like a shift or a moment when you saw Yamamoto and thought that, you know what, this kid, you know, he's not just only surviving at this level, but he could see some success?
Not necessarily a moment. I think that's dangerous because a lot of young players have a moment throughout training camp, and you can't make decisions based on that. Yesterday we talked about evidence, and the evidence was 5 or 6 games that he played. He didn't continually climb the mountain. He climbed, and then he stalled a little, and then he climbed a bit more, but he didn't dive off the cliff, if you will. And he applied his toolkit to the game. He played within our structure. We trusted him in those situations, and he's earned the right to play tomorrow. And that's where we're at. We're at game 1. As a mentor for Yamo?
Yeah, as a mentor, like, I know he's been in the league for 7 years. He's still kind of a young guy, but do you see him as a mentor, and how much of having them play together might be that a little bit?
Well, I think Nuge and many others have to apply their leadership skills in, you know, within the locker room. But what you need to do is you need to establish your own game first. And we talked about this with Jussi Jokinen. You know, can he help Jesse Puljujärvi? Well, let's make sure that Jussi has his game under his belt first. Let's make sure Nuge has his game. And once you feel good about yours, then you can expand out and mentor and you know, become that exterior leader, if you will, or whatever, for lack of a better term. But Yamo's fine. He's got a group that's looking after him, not one individual. And you know, our group wants him to succeed. They've taken him under their wing, and they want him to succeed.
Todd, just to the left here, what do you have for memories about the Battle of Alberta, and how do you feel about the future of the Battle of Alberta, the way these two teams are developing?
Well, probably start at the back end. It's exciting. I think they've done real good things with their team over the summer, goaltending-wise, and adding to the blue line. You know, as good a group of 6 as anybody has in the league, and with the way Mike Smith can play the puck, you may as well call them 7 defensemen. So I think it's exciting for Alberta, for Calgary, for Edmonton to have both teams competitive again and battling against each other. And you know, with the way the schedule is now, 31 teams, I think we only play them 5 times. And in the good old days, what they play 8, 10 times, and then always meet in the playoffs. So we have to cherish those games when we do play against them. I'm sure they will as well, and they should be fun ones.
Todd, you mentioned how much work there is to do just to even get back there, but what do you think your team learned about the playoffs last year and the season ending the way it did that could help them maybe deal with some of the expectations that you have in front of you for your team?
Well, we you know, when you look at playoffs, but I look at the year as a whole, we learned that the year isn't just a sprint for 4 or 5 games. We started that way, and then we fell off a little bit. It's a long marathon, and to go on and play deeper into the playoffs, you've got to be mentally and physically fit and strong to do those things, and you need to stay healthy. We had some ups and downs in the playoffs. We were a little erratic as far as the games that we played. We were always able to recover from them. We'd like to fix that and forget about playoffs. We'd like to fix that during the regular season, a little more consistent. Let's not take it on a chin severely so that we need to fix things. Let's manage our ups and downs a little bit better, and we'll be shooting for that this season.
Last one, changing gears. They are obviously have changed things with the way the face-off structured and the linesmen. Do you feel like that would be a benefit to your team? Have you seen a change in how you guys are approaching face-offs now with the new way it's being officiated?
Well, we'll take any type of, I don't know if it'll be an advantage or disadvantage for us. We were quite poor in the face-off circle. That's evident. So we really have nowhere to go but up, and we'll try and take advantage of the new rules if we can. But what's important for our group to understand, and I told them this the other day, is that the ownership of that face-off number isn't just the centerman. And they take it on the chin. It's Nuge, it's Leon, it's Connor. The wingers have to own that as well. The defensemen that line up on that those hash marks, they have to own those numbers as well. They have to take as much of a hit or as much of a pat in the back for those numbers as the centermen do. And for us to improve new rules or old rules, we have to get better as groups of 5.